A very warm welcome on a very cold day here in Wenatchee, Washington. This is Conversation Collage. We talk with interesting people. We talk about the things they're interested in. We try and keep it nice and friendly, and if you're not careful, you just might learn something by the time we're through here. Ken Johannesson at your service. Thank you for tuning in, downloading, clicking play, or however you're doing this here. We've got an interesting show for you today. We'll talk about kidney disease and some strategies to help deal with it a little later on. But we're going to start off with a story that I think covers several topics. It's music, it's history, and a current issue, all, if you will, rock and rolled into one. And the title of this is Original Woodstock Stage Making History, 50 Years After the Landmark Concert. And the guy's name is Steve Gold. He accidentally discovered the stage panels from Woodstock, the wooden stage that it was actually performed on. He has rescued it, and he's doing things with it. Number one, you can buy a little tiny piece of it, but also he's doing something with a big panel of the stage. And we talked about this with Steve Gold.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Where are you today?
I'm in L.A.
L.A.?
Yeah, we're presenting a piece of the stage panel to the Grammy Museum.
Oh, wow.
It's going in their collection, so we're excited about that.
So I take it L.A. is not home base for you?
No, I live in New York. I live in Rockland County, which is about 60 miles from Yasgur's Farm.
From Yasgur's Farm, okay.
I'm pretty close to where history was made.
Let's get into this story here. How did this begin? Where did you find this piece of the Woodstock stage, and were you looking for it, or how did you stumble upon it? How did this happen?
Well, I attended Woodstock at 15, and I was fortunate because I only lived 15 miles from the actual site. So being local, you're able to get to and from the concert with ease because we knew all the back roads. But after the show, about 3 weeks after the concert was over, the girl I was dating's parents owned a bungalow colony in the Catskills. A bungalow colony are little cabins that people from the city would come up during the summer, from Brooklyn and Bronx, and they would come up with their families and stay the summer. If they watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel last season, they did a whole stint where she stayed at the Catskills at a bungalow colony, so they can get a sense of what that was.
Okay.
So after Labor Day, most of these bungalow colony owners would start renovating for the following season or making additions. My girlfriend's father was building a paddleball court, which is a handball court, if you want to compare it to something. And I was at the bungalow colony visiting my girlfriend, and this is 3 weeks after Woodstock, and the father comes up to me and asks me if I can help him unload some wood on his truck, which of course I said yes. And as we're unloading the truck, nonchalantly he said to me, I just bought all this from Bethel. This is the stage. And, they said Bethel or Yasgur's Farm because 3 weeks after Woodstock, it wasn't that phenomenon yet.
Right.
And, he made it sound like no big deal, and I took it as, okay, cool, that was the end of it. Until 2 years ago, I said, holy mackerel, I wonder if that handball court or paddleball court is still there. So I drove up there, and where I thought the court wasn't. I guess over 48 years, maybe the brown acid took an effect on me, so it didn't,
right.
I didn't know what was going on. And we were about to leave, and a friend of mine I'm with said, wait a minute, what's that all the way deep in the woods? And we walked through brush and water, and we found this what looked like what I saw 50 years ago. And we asked the owners of the now owners of the bungalow company if we could remove some of the panels, and they gave us permission. And as we removed the panels, we found the Weyerhaeuser logos on a lot of them, which you see predominantly, in the movie and on the stills, pictures from all the performances playing. And as we kept removing more panels, we found pieces of rainbow-colored paint, the paint that was painted in rainbow colors, which was used to show the outline for the movable stage that they had built. They had a revolving stage, so when one act was playing, they would set up the instruments for the other act.
Right.
So when I saw, those two artifacts or those two, markings, I knew that I was 99.9% sure this was the original stage that Alex told me he built, of what he bought. And then we had it authenticated by a wood expert, and Weyerhaeuser. We sent them some panels, and they authenticated it. Michael Lang, who is the original producer, has agreed this is the original panel. As a matter of fact, he's part of our signed petition. We're having people sign the Woodstock stage for sensible gun legislation. And then we once we knew this was the actual stage, we began offering it as collectibles, so people can share in the memory that changed the generation and to be part of it.
Mr. Gold, where did the idea come to hook this onto the gun legislation platform?
One of the things that was disappointing for me as the anniversary approached, this past August, there was nothing. Nothing. Well, besides there was nothing, but anyone that was doing anything, whether it was a radio station or whether it was Bethel Woods, which is the original site of Woodstock, no one was doing anything to push forward the social activism that started at Woodstock. It was the first time a generation was talking about, racism and food, healthy food, and the war in Vietnam. So I said, this can't be that we're celebrating something that was the start of a revolution for change, and nobody was doing anything. And I was very involved with March for Our Lives and Moms Demand Action, who are advocating for sensible gun legislation. So I decided to, let's take it one step forward. Let's use the original Woodstock stage and have people sign the stage panels and take it to Washington and present it to Mitch McConnell for hopefully the Senate to move forward and pass sensible gun legislation, and red flag laws.
How did that go? Did you manage? Did Mitch actually see it? Did you meet him? How did that go?
No, we're going to be doing it in February.
Okay.
We wanted to do it sooner. In February. We wanted to do it sooner, but with all the impeachment hearings going on, that's all everybody's interested right now in. So we're going to wait till that's over and then, present it. But we have bipartisan support from different senators and Congress people that are going to be presenting it with us to Mitch McConnell. Hopefully he'll take it. He'll accept it. I have no idea. We'll find out.
Okay. All right. So then, what's the ultimate goal of this piece of panel? Will it be enshrined in the Grammy Museum? Is it going to be in Washington? What are you hoping to happen with this?
Well, we hope to take it to Washington, and if we make it work and they pass it, we're going to figure out what to do with the panel. We are going to be hopefully donating it to some organization. As a matter of fact, we're donating a piece of the panel, a piece of the stage, not the signed stage, to the Grammy Museum.
Okay.
We're just excited that we're able to offer something that people have a connection with. And when people, receive their collectible or their peace pendant and they wear it or they touch it, they're pretty emotional because of what happened on that stage. What we found, especially with the holidays coming up, what we found during Father's Day and Mother's Day, that a lot of the millennials and Generation Z were buying the collectibles for their parents, their grandparents, and their great-grandparents that were part of that generation. And the feedback we got was pretty emotional. A lot of people say the stage was the holy grail of a generation. So, to be able to offer that, especially now with the gift season, it's a meaningful gift. And we're giving back with, every sale, so that's important too.
So the upshot is that people can actually purchase a piece of the stage in either a frame or a pendant or something like that, right?
Correct. That they go to our website today, and if they do a purchase, at the end, at the checkout, if they put in the word "the stage," they'll get 20% off their purchase today.
Okay.
And also, if they go to our site, they could see a link to change.org where they could sign the stage petition online.
That sale is only for today, December 5th, correct?
No, it'll go to the end of the month,
okay.
end of December.
Okay, cool. Anything we've missed that you want to get out there? We should say Piece of Stage, and that's PEACE of stage.com.
Correct. No, I think you said it all. I mean, one of the things that's exciting for me is that I was able to give the peace pendant and collectibles to, people that played Woodstock that were my idols. I gave a piece to Carlos Santana, Greg Rowley, Stephen Stills, John Fogerty, Arlo Guthrie, Melanie, Graham Nash. And we hope to give a piece of the stage to every performer that's still alive.
That's great.
And we're also doing a piece for the Jimi Hendrix Foundation, where a portion of the proceeds are going to be used to buy instruments for autistic kids. And we're continuing to do, future donations and partnerships with different organizations that are part of this, what Woodstock was all about.
That's neat.
Social change, and so it's exciting,
yeah.
That we can, make a difference. So I'm one of those boomers, or I know, everybody says, hey boomer, or whatever the word is, and I want to show the world that I'm not one of those, that I am making a difference.
There you go. Steve, I know I got to let you go, but I thank you for some time out. Best to you in L.A., in New York, and with this piece of the stage there.
Okay, and everybody have a happy holiday.
Steve Gold there, who found the panels of the Woodstock stage and is now, as you heard, putting them to good use. You can actually own a tiny little piece of the stage, as he mentioned, if you go to Piece, and that's PEACE of stage.com. Pieceofstage.com. And the consideration for the foregoing chat with Steve Gold made possible by Piece of Stage. It's Conversation Collage on your favorite podcast platform that you enjoy. We also have a Facebook page that is called Conversation Collage Podcast. We also have an Instagram page that is called Conversation Collage Podcast. If you would go to both of those and like them, if you listen to our little presentation here on iTunes, would you be so kind as to leave a rating and a review, please? We would really appreciate that. Next, we're going to talk about kidney disease. Our kidneys play a vital role in our overall health by cleaning blood, balancing body fluids, removing waste, and aiding in other important functions of our bodies. Autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. That is a mouthful, but just call it PKD or ADPKD. It's a rare, genetic, and progressive disease that affects nearly 140,000 Americans, and it could lead to kidney failure in one. And to find out more about PKD, we talk with Dr. Neera Dahl, who is a nephrologist specializing in kidney disorders. And she is here on behalf of Otsuka America Pharmaceuticals Incorporated. Hi, Dr. Dahl. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Let's get into this here. Autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. Woof, that's a mouthful. Yeah. What exactly is that?
So autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, or ADPKD, is an inherited or genetic condition in which cysts form in the kidneys, and over time the cysts get bigger. The kidneys get bigger, so the kidneys may eventually get to the size of a football. And as this happens, there's decline in kidney function. So by the age of 60, about 50% of patients will have developed end-stage kidney disease or kidney failure, and that can only be treated with either dialysis or kidney transplant.
You say this is genetic. Is that the only way it is transferred or come down, or it doesn't generate itself in the body?
So it is a genetic disease, and most cases there's a clear family history